right, here we go. Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Alliance Group podcast, and we have two very special guests here with us this morning. We have Jack Waldron and Trevor Jackson from TJW Wealth. Gentlemen, welcome to the Alliance Group podcast.
Thanks, Sam.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
So you guys are, TJW is a partnership that you guys are kicking off. It's very, very exciting. You guys are both massively successful, very, very old friends. And actually, I want to start here. Jack, I want you both to tell us kind of how you got into this industry and how you guys actually met when you were, 6 years old?
It was first grade.
Going way back.
I was having a particular tough time with some finger paintings, and Trevor stepped in.
And here we are today.
The rest is history.
We had much more hair back then. In fact, Trevor had a lot more hair, especially in the back. But now, we were friends
joke.
growing up. We played sports, played football together, and we just stayed connected. We went different directions for college. After college, I got into this industry, and after college, Trevor got a regular job, and we were living together. And at one point, I was like, man, you'd be perfect. We've got to work together. And so I've been in the industry for 20 years, and 5 years after that is when Trevor started, so 15 years.
Wow. So 35 years of combined experience.
Correct.
In this industry. And now coming together to form TJW Wealth. TJW, a play on the initials, right?
Yep. Trevor Jackson, Jack Waldron seem to be a fit since we're coming back together.
You guys have some really interesting things behind TJW Wealth that I definitely want to get into. One of those things, Trevor, is the live oak is part of your logo at TJW. And there's really some fascinating stuff behind why a live oak for that logo. And it was awesome to hear. So live oaks are kind of unique tree-wise, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Jack's always been a big fan of the live oak. Never really understood why, me living in Colorado most of my life. So he's educated me quite a bit. And so the live oak's pretty interesting because it's a deciduous tree that never.
That's a big word, man. $20 word right there.
Yep, that does not lose its leaves in the winter, and so that's pretty. It's pretty unique to it, but also there's no two live oaks that look the same. They're always growing in different directions. Some can be off the ground, on the ground, whatever it is. But they're always very, very strong no matter what they are.
So Jack is squirming over here because he's really the live oak guy.
You asked the wrong question.
You're not saying it right.
So I moved to Texas 10 years ago. I'm originally from Texas. It's like a special place in my heart, right? And you go down to Texas and you see these big, beautiful trees. And I love Colorado, where I spent a lot of my life, and it's got giant pine trees, and that's beautiful. But I don't know. For some reason, I appreciate the live oak.
They're first of all beautiful, beautiful trees.
Yeah.
We my wife and I actually got married underneath a live oak, so it's
cool.
they're beautiful, beautiful trees. First of all, but something that you were talking about that I want you to expound upon is the way that a live oak, no two live oaks grow the same way, right?
Just like our clients, the folks we work with, the businesses we work with, they're all unique, right? And however, they work together and end up becoming among the strongest trees to withstand all the storms that get thrown at it, right? While a ficus fall down real easy, that live oak will last forever.
Right. Yeah. So word and there's phrases that come from that, like your word is strong as oak, right? Like oak is known as that strong, and it comes back to good roots, taking good care, letting it grow the way that it wants to grow, but nurturing it the entire time. I love that kind of your business is represented by that live oak. Going back to where you guys kind of get your passion from, because you're both very passionate guys. You've experienced a lot of success in this industry, and you guys teaming up kind of officially for TJW is awesome. You guys have been fueled, your careers have been fueled by kind of this passion that comes from wanting to fill a big need out there when it comes to financial education and really the lack thereof, right? So talk to me about how TJW is passionate about financial education, not just taking care of people's money once they bring it to you, which obviously you guys will do a great job of, but making sure that you're financially educating people on the way.
Sure. Well, I think that comes back to how we grew up. And, I grew up working for my parents, plumbing. And, was always told, hey, save 10% of your money, put it in the bank. But that was really about it. And other than that, never got any more education, went through high school, went through college, and never took a single class on personal finance.
Right.
Took corporate finance,
right,
not personal finance. And so I still didn't know how to handle my own money, even at that time. And I had a bachelor's degree, right? So it makes really no sense.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And you take like economics I remember taking economics in 9th grade, right? And
yeah.
I learned about GDP. I learned about all this stuff, but I didn't learn how to balance a checkbook. Right, for example, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and so when we kind of got into this industry, we really had a passion for educating people about money, not just trying to, hey, this is what you need, trust me, but actually partnering with our clients and actually teaching them why we're doing the different things to help them out. And so we're working together to create a plan, not just selling different things. And so
exactly,
yeah.
And Jack, how important is it for people to be armed with the knowledge to know just the basics about money?
So when I very first got in this industry, I didn't exactly do this. I used to do benefits for like small and medium-sized companies. And as exciting as health insurance sounds, I wasn't necessarily in love with that.
Right.
And then the government was kind of like, hey, you know what, we're going to change the laws here and you should probably do something different. So it kind of gave me some encouragement.
Right.
But I also had seen how not having a very organized, well thought out financial plan can really work in the wrong way for a family. My dad was only 54 when he passed away, and he ran a small company, and we lived in a small town, and like things were fine, bills were paid. But then without him, unfortunately, when he passed away, it was a sudden heart attack, completely out of the blue. Found out he had no life insurance, and all of the money that they had, like their whole life savings, my mom was dealing with someone that she thought was like an expert.
Right.
One of the things that I'm very frustrated about the financial industry is it's almost designed to kind of talk down to you, talk over your head. She didn't understand anything about what she was doing. She just kind of thought, well, at least I'm doing something and I hope it's all going to work out.
Right.
Some of us
taking all this money and giving it to someone who's an expert, and I don't understand anything about what he does, but I trust him because he's got all these letters after his name.
Exactly.
Right?
Well, fancy suit, nice office, kind of implies, look, I know more about this than you do, so just sit down, shut up, and hand over your money.
Using confusing terms that you don't understand, like, oh, I definitely need your help because I don't even understand what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, she ended up losing everything in 2008. So, my dad, they didn't have any insurance. All their money is tied up in some really risky strategies that just all fell apart like a lot of things did in 2008 without really having an understanding of how that could even happen or how to react to it.
Right.
She didn't get a phone call, a text message, an email. She didn't get a knock on the door. She heard nothing from anybody about what she should be doing, and she's lost her income, lost her spouse, business, and life savings. And so, going through losing everything and me having a front row seat watching that happen, it made a massive impact.
That's a formative moment in your life.
Yeah. So, it forced me to really look deep into the financial industry and not just kind of put myself in that same situation. I figured, for myself and my family, I just want to make sure something like that can never happen again. And so I started talking to a lot of people in the financial industry, and I just found that these are not necessarily bad people, but it's a system that's designed to kind of impress you and confuse you at the same time.
Yep.
And so then, started investigating things to do, and that's kind of where we stumbled into, obviously, not only should I be doing this for myself, but if I can help others.
Right.
And then focus on education so that people can be more educated, make more sound, educated decisions, take better ownership. If you have better ownership over your finances, it's not like you have to know it like we know it, but if you at least know, like, this is what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, you stay committed to it. And that's really the secret to creating wealth and becoming financially independent is you've got to have a plan and you got to have something that you stick to and don't sacrifice and, don't lose. And
that you can follow along with the progress or lack thereof of, right?
Exactly.
So like, you being able to follow along and understand why you're doing the strategies that you're doing. First of all, like you said, it is going to make you more committed to the plan. But second of all, it can also make it to where you can track where you are. You always know where you are. And if the market is going down, which does happen from time to time, you can understand why, and you can understand why you need to stick it out, right? Or maybe make a change in your strategy. I think it's really important that people do understand what's happening with their money and why they're doing what they're doing with it, why the strategy is what it is.
Well, and that's one thing that really makes us different and that we're proud to do is be meeting with our clients at least annually, if not more than that, because if you're not going over your plan, it's so easy to forget what you've done, what you've got going on, and why.
Totally,
which is so important if you're going to be on the same page as us, right? Which is why we're doing it.
Absolutely, that's awesome. So I'm going to ask you this question, knowing that you don't necessarily have the answer, but just maybe it'll spark a discussion. Why do you guys think it is that our schools, public or private, don't have any sort of education on personal finance? Like, is there a reason, or is it just, why not?
That's a really good question. We could probably go down some rabbit holes. Right? Because it almost seems like it's a system that's designed to create folks that are good workers, right? And good workers are not financially independent with the freedom to be able to just walk away from that job. And I'm not saying that this is, again, some sort of like
huge conspiracy theory, but it is interesting.
But I didn't learn about money in school, right? And I remember, I used to have this class for numbers and a different class for letters, right? And like I was cool with like the numbers and the letters, like multiplication, division, like we're good.
Yeah.
Letters, fine. And then ninth grade, they're like, guess what? Algebra. You know what I mean? Like
you're like, no.
We're moving these suckers together. Figure it out, And so like all these complicated equations that we had to learn and didn't understand how to understand compound interest, right? How to calculate and understand that.
I think we should learn both, right? Yeah. I'm not saying that we shouldn't learn algebra, but I'm saying why are we learning algebra but not learning how to balance a check? Like basic life things that no matter what you do in life, whether you go to college, whether you don't go to college, whether you start your own business, whether you work fast food the rest of your life, you need to know how to balance a checkbook. You need to know how to budget. And create a simple budget. You need to know how things like compound interest work. Yeah. It is very interesting that knowledge is power, and we probably could go down a lot of rabbit holes as to why.
Well, at least there's a few states that are making some changes, and they're adding that to the curriculum,
which is excellent.
Yeah, why isn't every state doing that?
Exactly.
It makes no sense.
Yeah, well, hopefully they'll follow the example.
So we've noticed that there's a lack of education, right? And even though there's some states that are starting to do some more things, once you start getting into your life where you've actually got income coming in, that's where we want to make sure that we offer, free, unbiased education for people. And so, we work with folks that have millions of dollars. One of the things that we've noticed is that there's folks that maybe have done a really good job of learning how to make money and be successful within their business, their investments, all that kind of stuff that they've put money into.
Right.
But keeping their money, that can be another thing,
right?
And it's not about how much money you make; it's about how much money you keep, and actually what it's going to do for you. And these are things that are really not that hard to master. It's actually pretty easy to do, but it's just so easy not to do. So we try to give people a classroom type setting, something that is non-threatening, it's neutral, and gives people a chance to take notes and ask questions, and again take that power back.
Which again is so awesome that you guys are not just, yes, of course we're going to help you manage your money, we're going to help you with these strategies, but we also, as part of this, we want you to get more educated and feel more empowered about your money, because as you were kind of getting out there, income is only part of the equation. You talked about algebra, right? That's definitely like the input is the income. But as you were saying, it's not just about keeping your money and not losing it. It's also about, in some cases, putting your money to work and not letting it be lazily sitting in a low interest account somewhere. Like, let's put that money to work. So income is part of the equation for financial success for sure. But you guys have seen there's people with lower incomes that do a better job of actually growing that money than people with higher incomes who aren't doing the right strategies, right?
The world is full of doctors and executives who lost it all because they didn't know what to do with all the money that
professional
they had.
athletes as well, right?
Oh yeah, man. There's so many stories.
There's documentaries.
Folks that made millions of dollars and ended up totally broke, right? Yeah. And it's really sad to see that happen. And someone has got to do something about that. So that's that's our mission.
Well, and one thing I'm really proud of too with our workshops is we teach everything, like we said, on a third grade level, as we say, right? So that everybody's understand it. We're not confusing anyone.
Right.
My highest net worth client actually came to us through one of those workshops, and at the end of it, he's like, "Hey, I really enjoyed this because you actually taught me something,
right?
And you taught it to me the same way you taught everybody else, whether they had $5 or $50 million, you taught it the exact same way.
The same
really
principles apply.
That. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's incredible. Yeah. And, starting off, it's kind of that balance where you don't want to talk down to people and like overdumb it up, right? But like he felt confident because you weren't assuming, oh, well, you have, millions of dollars, so you must already know this. I'm going to skip that part and go straight to the, talk about the very complicated financial strategy that I want to talk to you about. It's bringing people up and then meeting them where they're at. Right. Exactly. So if you do have already, you already have an interest in finance, you've already, educated yourself up to a certain level, we can start there. But we're not going to assume that you already know anything. Let's build your knowledge. And I think that's just so powerful.
And there's a lot of people who are really good at making money, like in their jobs or whatever their profession, but then growing that money in the right ways to do that. That's where they lack the experience, right? Because that's not their job. That's our job.
Yeah.
That's why we're there to help them. They don't have the time to sit there and manage those investments.
Right.
So that's why they need somebody on a team like us.
Yep.
Yeah. It's like, I think that it's somewhere just over 70% of Americans have all of their life savings, all their money sitting in accounts earning less than 1%.
Whoa.
And if we could help them understand just how detrimental that's is
unemployed
to their
money.
Future financial independence, it's like, when you do research and you look at, there were some studies that were done just a handful of years ago. Of the millionaires that exist in America today, 86% of them are self-made, right? So growing up in a small town, I thought that like 86% of millionaires probably inherited it, right?
Right.
And you just kind of get this negative sense of like, I'm probably never going to be successful, right? So anyway, it's really interesting. And when you find out what these people all did, number one, they saved money, so they pay themselves first and adopt that mentality. So we teach classes on understanding that concept first. Then they used compound interest. And if you use that, right, you just give yourself enough time. It's this crazy concept called get rich eventually, right?
Yeah,
it's right. That whole get rich quick thing is sort of like taken over our society and our culture. And so many people think that that's like the only way to get rich.
Right.
Get rich quick is definitely more glamorous, and get rich eventually is a little bit more boring, but it's better than never getting there at all. And it's a guaranteed way to cross that finish line. And what's happening to so many people is we're not talking about tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars that should exist in their accounts, like in their lives in the future, that simply doesn't because they just don't know how to make these type of things work for them. So it is simple. It doesn't have to be so complex. And, we have had people that have come to us and said like, well, of course you only work with like millionaires, right? And I say yes, but some of my clients just aren't millionaires yet, and so every single person that we work with can be a millionaire if, we can show them how to do it. It's really not that complicated. You just got to be able to believe in yourself and you got to put it in work, right?
Yes.
You've got to create that plan. So we're going to obviously have to do some research and put some work in and, teach people how to pay themselves first and start getting in that, correct position going forward. But it's doable in all situations. Yeah.
The thing I love about what TJW is doing and specifically what you guys teaming up is able to create for clients is there's a lot of firms out there, wealth, brokerage firms types, that are going to specialize in one thing, and their knowledge is all around the Wall Street stuff, the stocks, the bonds, the portfolio, and making sure that that's balanced. And this is where we got to go. You guys can utilize the entire financial spectrum, which I think is incredibly important. So talk to us a little bit about the holistic approach that TJW takes when it comes to wealth.
Sure. So, for a lot of advisors, the issue we run into is we can't advise on taxes,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so it's like somebody might come to us with a tax question and say, it might be this, but you got to talk to your tax professional. Right? Because legally we can't give you
legally
advice
we
on
are
that.
not allowed to talk about that.
That's right. And so what ends up happening is you end up bouncing around between 5 or 6 different people trying to get the answers that you need, and it might just take too long. You get tired with the process, and you just end up giving up.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so the aim of what we're trying to do is be the one-stop shop, and yet not us be the jack of all trades, but us having our specialties to help you out. So, we might help you with your investments. We might help you with your insurances, things like that. But then we've also got tax professionals. We've got an estate attorney.
Mm-hmm.
We've got somebody on our team that can answer all those questions for you to make that process really streamlined.
That's huge, because what you were talking about there, where if you push something back to me and says, you got to go ask your CPA, what that does, it means that first of all, I have to explain to my CPA what I want from him. Right. I don't know, man. My tax guy said I got to talk, or my advisor guy said I got to talk to you about something, and I can't even remember what it was. Could you just talk to each other? No, okay. And so that's where it gets frustrating, because now you've made me the intermediary talking to 2 financial professionals, and I don't understand what either of them really are needing and wanting. But I feel like this game of telephones going back and forth, and that's where people get frustrated. So being able to bring that all in-house, Jack, all of those conversations happening in one place is incredibly powerful, not only for the result that it's going to produce, but for what it takes off the client's shoulders,
Exactly.
So talk about that. Talk about being the value of keeping those conversations in-house.
So my name's Jack, and I can speak to the fact that you definitely cannot be the jack of all savings and investments and insurance and all that kind of stuff. And so that's the reason why we decided to build this company, is so that we could, lean on each other's strengths, right? Mm-hmm. And there's not one cookie cutter plan that works for everybody.
No.
And again, to bring the live oak back in to the conversation, just like, every live oak is unique. Every one of our clients and every one of our businesses that we work with is unique. Mm-hmm. And somebody might need more help with a CPA or an attorney or, some other sort of a specialist. And just like you would never go to a doctor that knows everything about everything, right? Mm-hmm. You go to a general doctor that talks about the basic stuff, and then they probably surround themselves with very capable specialists, mm-hmm. right? So, we've had clients that come in with all sorts of different ideas and dreams and questions and concerns. And so when we work collectively, cohesively like a team, we're going to be way more effective, right? But as simple and as easy as that sounds, you don't find that in this industry.
It's crazy.
A lot of the companies that are out there, they're fitting everybody into the same plan. 80 years old, 18 years old, everyone goes into the same thing.
This is what you need. If you think about a one approach to every situation, it's actually insane. The more you think about it, it really is insane, because there are so many variables. There's when you start bringing in tax perspective, but everyone is so different. Like that live oak thing, it's different incomes, it's different places that income is coming from, different industries that's coming from, and things that come into play there. You got someone who might be taking care of a parent, somebody who might be having no children or 5 children, and all the planning that goes with that. People want to do different things when they retire. People have different just setups in life, and so like to try to shove everyone into one box, or to solve every financial problem with one product, or even one suite of products like stocks and bonds, it's literally insane. It doesn't make sense what you were saying. So being able to bring all of those things in-house and truly get to know a client, diagnose a client, and then prescribe the right solutions based on their specific situation is really the only sane way to even approach that, right?
Do you remember the commercials that it used to be like, what's your number? And the people were walking around. They all had like $1 million or $2 million or whatever. It used to drive me nuts. And there's a lot of companies out there who are like, oh, everybody needs $1 million or $2 million to retire. No, they don't. Some people need a lot less, and some people need a whole heck of a lot more.
Right?
But again, like you said, it comes back to their goals. What do you want to do in retirement?
Yep.
So your goals are different from yours and mine, and so we're all going to have a different plan. And so if you get into that cookie cutter stuff, you're really not serving everybody the way you should. Everybody needs to have their own individual customized plan.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you guys are setting up TJW Wealth in Austin, actually Austin, Texas. Super, super cool city. Yep. Talk to me, Jack, about why Austin for your headquarters.
So I've been in Texas for the last 10 years. I'm originally from Texas, and I spent a lot of my life in Colorado. That's when I met Trevor, actually, is when I was 6, we moved to Colorado. And But I've always had like a special place in my heart for Texas, like I was saying earlier. And
you are a true Texan.
I am.
When I think of Jack Waldron, I think of Texas, and vice versa. Yeah.
I love it. It just fits, right?
Yeah.
And so 10 years ago, I moved to Texas. Texas has been great to myself and our family, and we love it. But we've traveled, and we've lived in the north of Dallas area, northern Texas. And we've come down to Austin, and we've hung out in, there's these beautiful forests and lakes and, trails. And it's really interesting because I still kind of miss Colorado for the landscape. And DFW, the only landscape you have there is maybe like the overpasses, right? You know what I mean? Like
it is a little flat.
Right. But one thing I know about Texas is there's people coming from all over the country, all over the world that are coming to this really thriving economy.
Yeah.
And Austin is growing faster than just about anywhere else in the country right now.
Yep.
A lot of prosperity, a lot of opportunity, and just a lot of fun, at the same time. So anyway, we've come down and we really enjoyed Austin. And my kids are still young enough to where it's like, if we're going to make this decision, we should probably do it sooner,
quicker,
and give them a chance to really grow up and, create those relationships. And, I've been working on this guy over here for quite a while, sort of not so subtly sharing my opinion on it. Like I would like him and his wife, Jackie, and their kids to join us in Texas. And anyway, so obviously we've been working together and we've hung out and we've vacationed together and all that sort of stuff. And just finally it kind of came to where it was the right time.
Yeah.
And so we decided, just like they'd be moving, so would we. And so we looked at, Central Texas. Austin is 2 hours from Dallas, 2 hours from Houston, an hour from San Antonio. So you can get to a lot of places. It's like 30 million people within about, 4 or 5 hours from there. And so it's there's certainly a lot of people that we can help. And it is a great area, great economy, great people. And
I think it says a lot about your belief in what you're doing, that you guys are both willing to uproot your families, right? And say, look, there are so many people that we can help in the Austin area, in those surrounding metros. Nobody wants to uproot their family. You guys both loved where you were living,
right?
But your mission is driving your decision here. You guys have a mission. You have people to help, and this is a really big step for you guys. And I think it's amazing that you guys are willing to do that in the name of your mission as a company.
Yeah, I'm really excited to get out there. Jack abandoned us 10 years ago, and and so I mean, our families are so intertwined because obviously we're best friends. Right. Our wives are best friends. Our kids are close to the same age. They love each other to death. And so when Jack was saying, "Hey, we're thinking about moving to Austin," that's all he had to say. And my wife's like, "Hey, we're moving to Austin."
Yeah.
Okay, great. How do we do that? And then that's really what started this whole conversation about TJW. Yep. And now that's the most exciting part of us going out there. I can't wait to get going. And like you said, the landscape, it was easy to say no around Dallas. Like you said, it's like you don't see a hill anywhere.
Very flat.
Yeah. And but then when we went and checked out Austin, it's just beautiful out there.
It is.
Can't wait to get out into that hill country.
Yeah. When they were thinking about it, we got an Airbnb out there, and I just so happened to find an Airbnb that had this amazing view out the back of Lake Austin and the hills around it.
You're like, see,
and I'm just
nature.
Because they were like, well, we think we want to do it. And I was like, well, come on down, let's visit, Sitting out there having a cup of coffee and having this amazing view. And they're like, this is an awesome place. I'm like,
it also,
awesome. Yes.
Also didn't hurt that it was about -10 in Colorado and it was 60 degrees in Austin, which everyone there was freezing, but I thought it was a heat wave. It was great. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yep. Well, you guys, it's amazing to watch you guys, friends for so long, professionals for so long, finally coming together, taking this big leap of faith. And I think that everyone that does business with TJW Wealth is going to feel that passion. And congratulations, guys, on something awesome. We can't wait to see you guys continue to succeed together.
Thanks. Thanks.
So if somebody wanted to reach out and work with you two fine gentlemen and your awesome team at TJW, where would they start?
Got a website, tjwwealth.com, where
right.
I'm thinking that the recording of this awesome podcast will probably reside as well.
Yep, absolutely.
And we're all over the social medias. So if you Google Jack Waldron Financial, Google Trevor Jackson, you're going to most likely find us. Right?
Yeah.
And,
you guys are all over.
We're unmistakably good looking, obviously.
Look for the bald guys.
It's just
Look for the bald guys with beards.
very streamlined haircuts. You know what I mean? So easy to spot.
It's just aerodynamic, guys, thank you so much for joining us for this edition of the podcast. Really, really awesome. And, we look forward to getting some great TJW content from the Stratton Studios today, too, as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Looking forward to it. Thanks for having us.
Thanks, guys.
Listen to this interview and more on the Alliance Group podcast.